Welcome to the Rise Inside podcast, hosted by Justin Starbird and powered by Rise Robotics. Listen as host Justin talks to experts from the Rise team about topics relating to mechanical engineering, industrial design, commercialization, and innovation. True collaborations work when ideas are integrated at inception to solve significant problems. Rise Inside brings together how the team continues to work with great folks to commercialize ideas. You're listening to the Rise Inside podcast. Here's your host, Justin Starbird.
Welcome back to Rise Inside. My name is Justin Starbird, and today I am privileged to have Walt Winshall on with me. Walt is an MIT alum, founder of SilverPlatter. He's an early stage investor in several tech startups, including Harmonix, the creators of Guitar Hero, PillPack, and the Techstars companies. Today, Walt, you serve as the principal in the Collaborative Seed and Growth Partners LLC, an investment firm specializing in commercialization of early stage technology. I'm thrilled to have you, to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Well, there are so many awesome anecdotes and unique stories that I've learned over the years, learned about you as I prepared for today. You're in a pretty unique spot where you get to see, new technology really every single day. Tell me a little bit about, what your role is at the Collaborative Seed and Growth Partners.
Well, we're really looking for opportunities where new technology needs to be commercialized, where we're basically focused on the process of commercializing technology that I'd say it's out of the lab. It's the science has been proven.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing. We're not trying to do things that belong in the university.
Right.
When it's ready for commercialization, we'd like to be involved and help where we can. And of course, the technology and the market fit and matches. There are lots of different ways that things come to market. Different industries. Some industries have ways they like to prefer things. Others are. Some industries are more conservative and want things to be further developed, but
Mm-hmm.
there may be early adopters that are available. There's all kinds of ways to bring products to market, and that's what we have focused on.
Well, and you're not a man that follows, set in stone rules either. You seem to have had a lot of success, working outside of the box, if you will. Tell me a little bit about, how your influence helps some of these startups.
We have answers. We have questions.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to try and help the principals that are managing the businesses, developing the products and bringing them to market, feel comfortable proceeding. We're in the business, if you will, of building business organizations that
Mm-hmm.
Successfully take new technology to market. We help by being available to and be a sounding board, and
Yeah, no, of course, and you take a pretty active role, right?
Well, I'm not looking for work, if that's what you mean. We're not trying to interfere with the management processes in the company.
Right.
It's up to the management of the company, founders and managers, however it is organized, to carry the work forward. So we're not engaged in the business as a consultant or employee or anything. We're just available.
Certainly a sounding board, and one of the companies that you've worked with for the last several years is Rise. Tell me a little bit about how you found Rise.
Well, they were one of the companies that went through the Techstars program.
Mm-hmm.
In the Boston location. The Techstars runs a 12-week program of mentoring and assisting startups to get off the ground. And I was visiting, I'm an investor with Techstars. And so was there looking for opportunities. And I guess I was impressed with the technological capabilities that the technical founder exhibited.
Yeah.
And I liked the way they were going about it. They were going about a lot of questions about how to take it to market.
Sure.
Some of the things that they proposed to try did not seem that promising to me, and others did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was looking at it more as I'll tell you the whole idea of new technology in the mechanical engineering area is quite rare. There is a kind of widespread understanding, if you will, that everything worthwhile in mechanical engineering has already been invented a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So the prospects of doing something in this space, I found it quite exciting, actually, to see beyond that. And of course, they were demonstrating capabilities that showed that they were quite knowledgeable about what they were doing, even if the things that they were showing didn't have immediate, obvious commercial.
So what drew you to them? What did you see that first time, or the first couple of times that you met the team?
Or they had a demonstration of their spring, their new kind of spring, something that makes a spring better.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the lab. I've seen it. I know what you're talking about. But I'd love to hear your perspective.
Have you seen the video of Tomas jumping up on the roof?
Yeah. That was awesome.
Well, now you look at that and you say, oh my goodness.
Right.
So, oh my goodness, there's stuff that can be done with this.
Right.
Kind of raw. I mean, people aren't going to pay Tomas to jump onto the roof.
Right.
But they may have applications where this kind of thing could be useful. I think what has happened since really, we went after trying to build a better air compressor.
Mm-hmm.
We found that we designed a better air compressor, and we found that the market thought it was nice, but they weren't really willing to pay a premium for this particular improvement,
right,
or set of improvements.
Yeah.
But on the way to that, we were learning things about the technical environment of the tools we were using, and in that exploration of building the better air compressor, the underlying technology of the better impeller was developed.
Mm-hmm.
It's now patented. So we were building something that the market didn't care about, but
right.
We learned how to do something that I think the market is going to care a lot about. This is very exciting.
Yeah. And as you saw all of these, improvements as the team was making, what made you feel as though this was so important to keep going and continue to invest in them? Because the products, I mean, like you said, the air compressor, it wasn't something that was going to be commercially viable, but you kept seeing.
I didn't know it wasn't going to be commercially viable while we were doing it. It only showed up when we tried to actually engage with the potential customers.
Yeah.
That we had learned that the kinds of improvements we were proposing to make didn't matter that much to them.
Mm-hmm.
But here, it was apparent from early that we have something that could make a difference in a lot of applications. There's different use cases of this.
Yeah.
But the general case where you need to push things around or move them in certain ways. Ken knows a lot about this. There's I think there are use cases here that are going to be very significant financially. In other words, there are big markets we haven't really explored it all yet. We're still poking around.
And do you have, is this I don't want to say a common path for you to follow with, investments that you make? I would imagine there are several that are really A to B, but this is, kind of a windy road.
A to B is very rare. I mean, sometimes you get it. Sometimes you have A to B that's kind of at the top level. Mm-hmm. Microsoft is going to build software for personal computers.
Right.
Okay. But I think if you look closely, you'll see even there was lots of motion, lots of reframing the question, pivoting, if you will, or leaning into the wind, whatever the analogy you want to make. This is not unusual.
Mm-hmm. And, we also have Ken Gray on the line with us. He's oversees business development for Rise. Ken, I know you've got some great perspective on, where some of the technology, fits can be, and you have experience leading multiple companies in that respect.
So you let Walt draw me back in. I thought that was very clever on your part, Walt. Well, one of the things I want to grab onto here that Walt is saying, and your audience can't see him smiling as he's talking about this, but development isn't linear in these cases. There isn't, as he said, there isn't a clear path often between point A and point B. And he said that, just to kind of pull this out a little bit, I mean, what really came out of the compressor was a better impeller, so, as we've, there's so many applications in the world where you need to push things around, where you need to push it or you need to pull it. And what the discovery that's so important for Rise, that's at the core of Rise, is a much more efficient means than that has ever been available to us as mechanical engineers to push and pull loads. Am I saying that fairly, Walt?
Yeah, very good. I mean, I think that when we first got on the current track, that this impeller had, that we were going to pursue this, and that the initial use case was really one of replacing or displacing hydraulic technology. I began to become aware as I walk around of all of the different places that I see hydraulic technology deployed. It's very widespread, and the number of use cases, lots of them. There may be some that we don't do much for, but I think there's lots of them that we could do much for. And right. We're still feeling our way as to what the best cases are. I'm very intrigued with the energy saving component of what we're doing. This has there will be use cases where the economic aspect of it will be compelling, not to mention the displacement of fossil fuel or energy production. So I think that this aspect is going to continue to broaden the catchment area for the technology.
You talked a lot about the development of the technology that's come out of projects, prior to what we're working on now, and we'll get to what we're working on now in just a minute. But I wanted to ask you about, what you saw in the team, that made you continue to support their efforts. So, of course, you wanted them to come out with viable products and projects that would fit, commercial sale. But you also saw a lot of traits in Aaron and Tomas and Blake and Kyle that, kept you involved as well.
Yes, I think they're a very high level team. I had my experience is that you always try to get good teams. But the language we don't have language for describing the kind of long tail there is when you talk about competence. Some people are much better at it than other people, Other people are even better than them at it, and so on. But it's a very long tail. This is well known in the software area. They say a really good programmer is 10 times as good as a almost really good programmer. But there's a guy that's 10 times as good as him. Do you know what I mean? It's not half 50% better. It's orders of magnitude better in the tail. I remember the first time I was, my father-in-law invited me to go with him to a chess tournament, to attend as a spectator. This was a tournament. The chess clubs in the Boston area had conducted a competition for several months in which they, some kind of elimination competition to narrow down to the 32 top competitors in the Boston area. And these 32 competitors were going to play Boris Spassky, who was in town for this purpose, simultaneously. And I watched it, and it gives a whole new meaning to what the tail looks like.
Boris one versus 32.
Yes, Boris Spassky is not a little bit better than other chess players.
Right. Yep.
It's way out there on the end that we don't have language to even describe this phenomenon. He walks around the room at quite a brisk pace, putting pieces down and moving on to the next board. Taking in the board. These are the best players. About the seventh move, he hesitated at one place, and he said something to the guy, and he announced that he's offering this guy a draw, and the guy accepted it, of course. And in the Q&A afterwards, they asked him about it. Well, if I was playing one-on-one, I would have never offered him a draw, but this was a complicated position, and it was a dangerous position. I thought discretion was the better part of valor here, and he won the other 31 games. I mean, we don't have a way of, and so this, I look at Blake a little bit like Boris Spassky.
Yep.
Oh, that's Rise Chief Technical Officer. Blake Sessions.
His professor at MIT, somebody who'd been at MIT in the mechanical engineering department, teaching mechanical engineering students for 25 or 30 years, said this is the best student he'd ever had.
Yeah, this is a generational talent.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And Walt asked me why I came to Rise, and I said because it's the intersection of elegant mathematics and practical applications, and that's Blake Sessions.
Yeah.
That's he's a generational talent, and I think Tomas is in that. Tomas Sepp is right in that category, and so is Aaron, and so is Kyle. It's an incredible team.
In my experience when I have had teams with some of these characteristics, I've done very well with them. I don't have to take any credit. I mean, in other words, I had one. The two founders just decided, we're really good at this. Let's make sure we get other people who are really good at it as the team. It was just a kind of, they did it like a choice. And they preserved it into the several hundred person company level. I remember visiting their office one time. And just as I was leaving after a meeting, I went down in the elevator, and some kid ran into the elevator just as the door was closing. And I said to him, are you? Yeah. How long have you been there? It's 90 days. How do you like it? He wouldn't let me leave without telling me this is not like getting a regular job. You're working with people who are working at this level. It's like going to school more than getting a job.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
And I mean, he had to explain it to me. He didn't let me leave after the elevator got down to the first floor. He wanted to make sure I understood that this was, he'd worked at other companies before. He's been out of school for 2 years already, and this is his 4th job or something. But this is not like any of the other ones, because the people everybody is working at a level that it makes you want to do better than you are doing. it's a kind of anyway. I've had the experience before with good teams like this, and so I was attracted to this team from that point of view.
Yep.
This was a team that was not trying to do something that was a little bit better.
And how do you help them?
Doing something that's exponentially better. I mean, not really doing something that's exponentially better is what's attractive about this team. Sorry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with that, my question is, going back to what I asked a little bit before or mentioned, at what point do you attempt to offer advice or, I don't know if counsel is the right word, but, help them avoid pitfalls of companies that you've worked with in the past that didn't make it?
Well,
go to a board meeting. You should have him come to a board meeting. Sorry.
I don't have it. I think you try to be available where they think they're usually their own best judge of where they need help. So they come to you with an agenda of questions. What should I do about this? What should I do about that? What should I do about this guy, Ken Gray, that says he wants to join the company?
Yeah.
No.
I'd love to have been in on those conversations because I'd like to know what the heck happened.
How'd they let you in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I
think one of the things. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the things that you do, I think, very effectively, and it's a very interesting, constructive thing that you do, is the questions that you ask at board meetings, for example. I think if you go, there are board meetings that you go to in the corporate world that they're not so constructive. They want to be, but they're not. And if you go to a RISE board meeting, it usually takes the form of questions.
Yeah.
And they're questions that are designed to teach something. And I wish I had some examples even from the last one that we attended in. But seems very situational. And the other thing is that Walt is available he's available. If I want to call Walt, I can call Walt. I don't. I respect the time, but if I want to call Walt, I can call anytime I want and ask a question.
Yeah, I mean, if we see something that we feel we have something to contribute, we would offer it. But I think most of it is generated by the company and the people in the company themselves saying, gee, this is a situation, I'm not sure exactly how to deal with it. Or I tried this and it doesn't seem to be working. Do you know anything about this area? Mm-hmm. I mean, you get them in all kinds of forms like that. And, you may have some experience with that. You may not. You may say, gee, it looks like you're doing the best that can be done. Why don't you keep wandering around until you find something better? I don't know.
Well, right now, RISE has just announced a partnership with Anthony Liftgates, and you mentioned, a moment ago about driving around and seeing all the applications for hydraulic technology, and before that, you mentioned that in the industrial engineering space, a lot of people gave up on trying to invent new things because it had already been done before. When we came forward to you and said, hey, we're going to do this partnership, what did you see as opportunities there?
Well, I'll tell you, Aaron had gone around to the different, he had picked out the use case of the liftgate as a possibility, and he had gone around and talked to the 5 or 6 major people who occupy substantially the market share in that space. And he had come back with some of the companies were not interested, and some of the companies were thinking about it. But he thought this one, the company they were interested, and they had good reason to be. It looked like from this that they were not the market leader, but they were well established, and I think they aspire to be the market leader. And I think they appreciated what the potential could do for them. So it was, I think Aaron had developed the turf that surround, had done the spade work and the background to be able to say with confidence, I think this is promising, let's pursue it. And I've done a lot of collaborations with other companies in my operating experience.
Sure.
You try to make a win-win out of it, whatever it is. And those people, first of all, they were a pleasure to do business with. And we found our way to the win-win aspects of it, not right away, but read in a pretty straightforward manner. So I'm very hopeful about that one. They are highly regarded supplier in that space, and I think they'll be able to do real well with the advantages that the technology will equip them with.
Did you get as excited as I do driving around seeing deliveries being made? Ken, I know you had a lot of, you had a comment about this as well.
I think that, it goes back to something that Walt said earlier. I mean, the opportunity to save energy with this technology, to recoup or regenerate energy with this technology is really important. And I think especially in this liftgate application that Anthony is taking, where Anthony is taking to market, it really overcomes some obstacles, especially for intercity deliveries where trucks can't be left at idle, and where hydraulics would consume the battery if you shut the truck off. The new Anthony liftgate, powered by Rise, to use their phrase, will charge the battery as we unload. So I think Walt said it well. This technology is equipping them with capabilities that will suit them very well in the marketplace.
Yeah, it's a real win-win type of thing. There's a lot that they're going to contribute to this in terms of taking it to market. I mean, first of all, they know the market very well, and they know the markets that they are serving and the markets that their competitors are serving. And I think that we're going to be very well accompanied here on this thing by them.
Absolutely. And so, Walt, let me ask you this then. And, where do you see Rise going in the next few years? What excites you about what's coming next?
Well, I only see a short distance ahead because I don't know enough, but I think there are a lot of applications, and they're turning them up at a good rate. And we're pursuing as many of them as we feel comfortable pursuing. I think we will be building our capabilities so that we can be pursuing more of them, and some even speculatively, more where it isn't, God, this is where the sure thing aspect of it isn't necessarily known yet, or it's not obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that over the next few years we'll enhance our organizational capabilities to be able to be pursuing more of the opportunities that we're already seeing, and also to engage with other collaborators. I mean, I think that is a big part of this, is being able to arrange things with companies who have a market position that we don't necessarily need to regenerate.
Right.
We can let them work with the technology to be useful in that space, and to create. We could create really mutually beneficial collaborations with these other companies. That excites me, frankly, and of course I think the experience with in the liftgate initiative, it bodes well for the future.
Success breeds success. That's one of the things that we're excited about. People will, industry will see the success Anthony Liftgates has with a product powered by Rise, and that will lead to more success. And it's been interesting, we want to work with collaborators, which means we want to work with people who want to work with us, that are system thinkers, that want to make massive changes, massive improvement in their products. And those are the kinds of companies that want to work with us. And I hope our phone is ringing with more and more collaborators like that, and it is. But I think we're going to hear from more and more of them as success breeds success.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of when I was in an operating role of the collaboration with the companies that were business partners.
Well, I'm excited to be on at this stage as well, and be able to tell the story and bring it out, and hear from folks like yourself who have been in it from the beginning. And as we get started today, just seeing the smile on your face and the excitement that you get from just talking about the team. And so I think maybe we make this one. I probably won't make this one a video interview, but here we are on Zoom recording this podcast for Rise Inside, and it's pretty cool to see all the people that I've spoken with so far just light up as they talk about the team and what's coming, recognizing some of the challenges that we had at the beginning, how the team overcame them, and position themselves to keep moving forward, to create an opportunity like this. So I'm really thankful to be here. Thankful to have you, Walt. Ken, you're also in the first year of being part of Rise. So with that, guys, I'm so thankful to have you guys on the show and hear from your experience. So thanks for joining me today. Thanks for being a guest on Rise Inside, and Walt, I hope to have you back again soon.
Great.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you, guys. Until next time.
You have been listening to the Rise Inside podcast, presented by Rise Robotics. On behalf of our guest today and host Justin Starbird, thank you for listening. Please share your feedback on our LinkedIn page, linkedin.com/company/rise-robotics.